Chris Broussard is still with us. Chris, how far can the Sixers go with Embiid at less than 100% right now?
Eastern Conference Finals.
Wow.
That would be their ceiling. There's no way they can beat Brooklyn and probably not Milwaukee without Joel Embiid being close to 100%. And if he plays, say, 6 games in this next series with Atlanta and is 85%, they'll beat Atlanta. If he's out, or maybe he tries in game 1, re-aggravates the injury, and then he's out, without Embiid, it would be close, but I think Atlanta would beat Philadelphia. Philadelphia was 10-11 this year without Joel Embiid, and only 2 of those 10 victories came against teams that made the playoffs. They're not that good without him because everybody gets moved up, and I'm worried about the scoring. Tobias Harris is a very good scorer. He's a legit 20-point guy, but he becomes your number 1 scorer if Embiid's out. Ben Simmons will give it to you maybe every other game as far as scoring 18 to 30 points, but he's not going to do that every night. So now I'm counting on Seth, not Steph. I'm counting on Seth Curry. I know he was great last night, but I'm not expecting that on a regular basis. So I'd be counting on Seth Curry and Danny Green to be my second or third scorers. So I don't think that's enough firepower to beat Atlanta. Obviously, Trae Young is a gamer. That dude goes into Madison Square Garden in his first ever playoff appearance and gives us all a bunch of entertainment and plays great, basically 30-10. He's a gamer. They got other shooters around him. Clint Capella is underrated. He's a very good defender, can protect the rim, obviously a great rebounder. They shot the 3 fairly well against New York, and New York defended the 3 better than any team in the league this season. So I get it that Philly plays great defense, won't be as great without Embiid, and even if it's good, I think Atlanta will be able to solve it. So they need Embiid on the floor just to beat Atlanta. Embiid on the floor, but hindered, that's not enough to get out of the East.
Hell, I believe the Eastern Conference Finals is their ceiling with a healthy Joel Embiid. I don't believe the Sixers beat Brooklyn or Milwaukee if Joel Embiid is healthy. If he's banged up in this series, Atlanta's going to beat him. Atlanta's better than people think. I think you people got an opportunity to see just how good Atlanta is. Skip, their 2 worst 3-point shooters in the series was Young and Bogdanovich. And we know they can shoot the 3 better than anybody. Hunter was 45%. Lou Will was 43%. Hunter was 45. Lou Will was 43. Hunter was 37. John Collins was 39. Young was 34, and Bogdanovich was 33. And they did a number on the Knicks. They really should have swept the Knicks because they had a 12-point lead.
Agreed.
And got careless with the ball in the third quarter in game 2, and the Knicks came back. Atlanta's a better team than the Knicks. And the big difference was their superstar showed up every single game. Trae showed up.
Did he?
Yeah,
Really? You see what he shot from 3 the last 2 games? He was 7 of 25. That's 20-something%. You love that?
Hey, Chris,
I don't.
Can I interest you in this?
I don't.
Only 2 players in playoff history have scored 3 straight games of 30 points or more in Madison Square Garden. One name is Michael Jeffrey Jordan. You like him? And the other one is Ice Trae Young. You know him?
My strap.
Yeah, don't do that. Skip.
He's about 5'11".
But Skip, if Joel Embiid is banged up and he can't play, Atlanta's gonna beat the Sixers because they are a big team. Capella, wingspan 7 foot. Hunter, 7'2". Bogdanovich, Collins, 6'11" wingspan. Skip, they're big. So they got people that can throw at Joel Embiid, and if he's not healthy, Atlanta beat him.
I would like to start my remarks by congratulating Clint Capella because before this game last night at the Garden, he called out the Knicks. And he said they talk tough and they try to play tough, but they ain't tough. And he backed it up last night with 15 rebounds and 14 points. That's putting your walk where your talk is, right?
You see what they try to do to Trae, throw the ball. He on the floor, Skip. Julius rather than throwing the ball at him.
Fake tough guys. It's what Thibodeau wants them to be, and they try, but you have to have it in your gut to be that tough.
Skip, they tried to be the mid-'90s.
Okay.
The mid-'90s Knicks were really, really tough.
Okay, but I bring up Capella because he's going to be a force if there's no Embiid, or if Embiid's like 60% or 40% of what he is.
Right.
Okay, so what do I know about Joel Embiid? I'm his biggest fan. Shannon, not so much. All he had this year was a breakout monster season because he had career highs across the board. From the field, he was 51%. Never done that before. 38% from three. 86% from the free throw line. He's 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
And nobody came close to shooting as many free throws as Joel Embiid did. There are so many nights I look at the box and he's 17 of 18. It's what I would like to see LeBron do tonight at Staples, go 17 for 18 from the free throw line, because he is a nuclear force in the paint. He's just very hard to defend. And I believe he would devour Clint Capella if he were 100%.
Right.
Okay, this is what I know about his knee. A Sixers source told me yesterday it has a small tear in the meniscus. It's just a little flap, and you know how these things go. I've had 3 of these surgeries. If you have a significant little flap or tear, it'll catch in the mechanism of your knee, and it will, I promise you, it will shut you down.
It sure will.
It will make you scream. But they're saying his is so little that it might require a little scope cleanup after the year, but they think they can muddle through, and it's going to be about his pain threshold.
Right.
It probably won't get any worse, but I don't know that Joel has the highest pain threshold. He has not demonstrated that before.
But, Skip, there's a difference between you at your weight running on it.
Hey, he's 300 pounds. I bet he's 300.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Agreed. And it's always something with him. If it's not his knee or his ankle or his foot, it's his stomach.
Tum-tum hurts.
Okay, I got it. But I'm with – they cannot beat Atlanta unless he can give them something. He'll miss the first game, but thereafter, you better be on the floor, and you better give him at least a defensive presence.
Well, you're gonna catch the Dickens. If you let Atlanta get a game, and that's what happened with the Knicks, Skip. They let Atlanta mess around and got game 1, and they're like, y'all in trouble.
Okay, but to me, this team, this Sixers team, coached by Doc, and I love Doc, they were second in defensive efficiency because they will defend you at the highest level, because Ben Simmons is a flat-out stud. He can defend your point guard. He can just suffocate your point guard, or he can defend your center.
Right.
6 feet, 10 inches
you
tall.
You think they put him on Trey? Or they put Danny Green on him?
Well, I think they'll trade off. Obviously, they'll chase him. But Danny Green is I know he's a little up there in age, but he can still defend at a high level. And Thibault can, you don't think he can shut people down? So the point is, if Embiid is, like, they're expecting him to be 95%.
Well, he'll have to be.
Okay, if he is, they're going to give Brooklyn some trouble because they have home court. If they could get to a Game 7, remember, it would be in Philadelphia. If they got to a Game 7 against Brooklyn, and I do think Brooklyn's going to beat Milwaukee, I would give Embiid at 95% a shot against Brooklyn at Philly. Well,
Skip, he's going to need to average 40 and 15 a night to offset what KD, Harden, and Kyrie.
I know. But they can't stop him if he's right.
Skip, that's 100 points. They give you 100 points on a nightly basis.
I've never seen anything like it before. But, hey, you have questioned their defensive commitment.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
You brought up his knee injury. He had this same injury. I don't know if it was the lateral meniscus, but he had a slight tear in the meniscus of his left knee back in 2017. And he missed 8 games. They were saying it's day-to-day. He missed 8 games. And then they just ruled him out for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So, and the way he plays, you guys know, he's on the block some, but he's a perimeter guy. I mean, he's phenomenal in the mid-range.
Phenomenal.
So he's cutting a lot. Excuse me. He's cutting a lot. He's making moves. And we know he has a falling problem.
Right.
Like, it seems like he gets injured when he falls.
Yep.
And so I would be just shocked beyond belief if he's able to, like, come back in game 2 and play every game from that point on, not just against Atlanta, but if he can do that in the next round, I just can't see it. And that's obviously the problem with Joel Embiid, is he's just unreliable physically because of his health problems.
But, Chris, when you think about it, a man that size, I mean, it's going to hurt more for a grizzly bear to fall 2 feet than a house cat. And so you talk about a man that's 7 foot tall, 300 plus. and that he jumps up in the air. You saw how he came down awkwardly, Skip. How do you come down gracefully if you're 300 pounds, if you're 7 foot tall? How? And so that's his problem. He's always going to have this. Could he stand to lose? Could he be 285, 290? Maybe. But when you get a man that size, there's a reason why offensive linemen, when they go down, they don't like going down on the ground because it's hard for them to get, it hurts.
I know, but he's so agile.
Yes.
He sort of enjoys falling, and it doesn't pay off.
It does not pay off.
No.
But if he's not close to 100%, Atlanta going to upset them, Chris.
I got Philly.
Nate McMillan, hold on. When they going to take this interim tag off Nate McMillan? What the hell is this? That man the head coach.
They better hurry up. Because I think Portland, if they get rid of Terry Stotts, they're going to try to bring him back, and Dame will probably be like, yes, get Nate back here, right? Boston, would they put him on this list?
I'll go to Portland. The coach, be able to coach Dame and CJ, I'll go back. He cut it. He was up in that area. He's at Seattle.
He was, yeah.
That is interesting. Yeah, Boston could make things interesting.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.